This is a meeting organized in Liberia that will take place from the 11th until the 14th of September in Monrovia. It's organized an initiative of the regional farmers organization in West Africa called ROPPA, together with their members, and then particularly obviously an active role of their national platform in Liberia, FUN, the Farmers Union. And the topic of the conference is 10 years of Maputo, meaning 10 years of the declaration, the African Union Declaration on Food Security and Agriculture, which was obviously at the continental level agreement on where, as Africa, states want to go in terms of their agricultural development and also supporting and strengthening food security on the continent, but taken up and implemented actually at the regional level and at national levels. West Africa has been going a lot faster than other regions, in the sense that it is actually until this day the only region with a regional investment plan for agriculture, already adopted in 2010, if I'm not mistaken. And now, so this conference is the moment 10 years after the adoption of the Maputo Declaration to have a discussion with stakeholders, particularly in the region, but there will also people from outside the region, on where, as Africa, 10 years after these commitments and ideas of where we want to go with agriculture, where do we stand in terms of the implementation and living up to what we want to achieve, meaning agricultural transformation, a central role for smallholders, and in the end, welfare gains and reduction of poverty and strengthening food security. Well, I mentioned that West Africa is further ahead. I think what will be interesting at the conference is also discussing, there is this policy, but a lot of stakeholders do recognize that in terms of implementation, there's still a lot of challenges to be overwon and progress to be made. So regardless of being ahead of all the other regions, I think it's very crucial in the region to have a discussion on what are some of the challenges, not only looking at the results, but only look at what's actually behind the results or the lack of results, maybe in some areas. And then we're, for example, thinking of the commitment that was made in Maputo of spending 10% of the annual budget on agriculture, which in a lot of states is not happening. And it's not about only how much you spend, but also how you spend it. So it will be very interesting. There's, even in West Africa, there's a lot of challenges. Interesting to discuss that with discussion, so a great implication and involvement of farmers and farmers organizations, but also regional organizations, not only the ECOWAS Commission, but also UMOA, other regional, more specialized organizations such as SILS, as well as representatives of member states and other civil society organizations. In terms of other regions, it has been, they found it more difficult at least to have regional approaches to agriculture, but you see in recent years and definitely recent months that it's picking up in other regions. So looking at ECAS, they have this week actually their meeting on a regional agricultural and food security investment plan. COMESA, there's also progress, and that will happen in a few weeks' time. So there is progress also in other regions in that area. The idea of this conference was not to organize a conference for a conference, but to prepare it well and try to get some results on the table in terms of indications of what is actually the progress and what are some of the challenges, and to use that as a basis for the discussion and for also others at the conference to bring in their experiences. How we've approached that, and we've, as ECDPM, worked very closely with the farmers organization, but also with researchers in the region, the ROPPA network particularly, in terms of doing in different countries, 10 countries out of the 15 countries in the region, doing a study on different elements that are reflected in the Maputo Declaration, and how that has evolved over the last 10 years. So then you can think of agricultural policies. What has been sort of, how have agricultural policies evolved? Spending on agriculture, how is that involved? Another element, an important element of Maputo and CADEP is how policy making is taking place. So also involvement of the different stakeholders like farmers, civil society organizations, etc. So also looking not only at the results, at the policies and their results, but also looking at how is actually policy making taking place, and has that become more inclusive or not over the course of the years. These results will sort of feed into the discussion at the conference, and hopefully contribute to lively debates, and also concretely thinking of the way forward in terms of having sort of this analysis. What does that mean, and how can we in the region work together to concretely accelerate the implementation of the Regional Agricultural Investment Plan and the agricultural policy called ECOWAP.